Hello my dear children, welcome to my class. So today we are going to start our first class of our new session 2020-21. Before I start the topic, I would like to tell you about your syllabus. Your syllabus is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 consists of 30 marks and part 2 consists of 50 marks. So part 1 there will be 10 questions from civics, 1 mark each, and in history again 10 questions will be given, 2 marks each. So 10 plus 20, 30. And in part 2 there will be 2 sections, section A and section B. In section A, 3 questions will be given from civics. Out of 3 you have to do any 2. And in section B you will be given 5 questions, and out of 5 questions you have to do any 3. So altogether 10, 20, 30, 30 plus 50, 70. 30 plus 50, 80 marks. So altogether theory marks will be of 80 marks, and remaining 20 marks you will get it from your assignment. But in order to get your assignment marks, you have to pass your theory subject. So now let us start with our first topic from civics, that is our constitution. So very simple topic. I am starting with our constitution. So first of all, let me explain you what is mean by constitution. If you are asked, if anybody asks you what is mean by constitution, you will say constitution is a set of rules and regulation according to which a country is governed. That is also correct. It's a rule book. All the rules, everything are written over there, and our country is run accordingly. So here I have written the same way in a very different word. Constitution is the supreme law. Constitution is the supreme. That means beyond that no other law exists. We follow the constitution strictly. So beyond the constitution there is no such law which we have to follow it. So there is only one law, that is the constitution. So constitution is the supreme law of the country. So beyond the constitution there is no such law or rule book which we have to follow. There is only one thing, only one book, that is the constitution. So apart from that, it is a set of laws. What is the constitution? Set of laws. Constitution is a set of laws that lays down, set of laws that lays down the organization, powers, functions and the obligations of the government and its institution. So law, set of laws which lays down the organization, powers, functions and obligations of the government and its institution. So in a very simple term, I'll tell you that constitution is a set of rules, set of laws according to which the country is governed. In the constitution, each and every articles are clearly defined, each and every schedules are clearly defined. What are the powers and functions of the Prime Minister, clearly defined. That means each and everything required to run the administration of our country is defined clearly in our constitution. So when our constitution was ready, when our constitution became ready, it contained 395 articles. How many articles? 395 articles. 395 articles. And 12 schedules. But right now we have 448 articles and 12 schedules. So 448 articles. Now we'll be discussing about the process and how the constitution was made and who made our constitution. So first of all, we need to discuss about Constituent Assembly. The members to the Constituent Assembly was elected. So what is mean by Constituent Assembly? Constituent Assembly is an assembly convened means meeting, convened for the purpose of drawing up a constitution. That means Constituent Assembly was a body which was given the task to frame the constitution of our country. So Constituent Assembly framed the constitution of our country. Now the process goes this way. The first of all, the first general meeting of the Constituent Assembly. First general meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held on 9th December 1946. The first meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held on 9th December 1946, in which all the elected members of the Constituent Assembly was present, and there they chose one president. And the first president of our country, later on we came to know it, he was elected as the president of a Constituent Assembly. Who was the president of Constituent Assembly? Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He was the one elected as the president of the Constituent Assembly, a body which was formed in order to frame the constitution of our country. So when the first meeting was held, 9th December 1946, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the president of the Constituent Assembly. Now unanimously, later on we came to know that this Constituent Assembly made one committee. Constituent Assembly made one committee, and that committee was given the task to frame the constitution of our country, and that committee came to be known as drafting committee. So drafting committee was formed in order to frame the constitution of our country, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was chosen as the chairman of the drafting committee. That means he was given the charge to supervise the writing of the constitution. So drafting committee was formed, and B.R. Ambedkar became the chairman of the drafting committee. Now Bhim Rao Ambedkar, Baba Sahib Ambedkar we call it even today. So now drafting committee did the work. They drafted the constitution. It was published also, and finally on 26th of November 1949, the constitution was ready. 26th November 1949, constitution was ready. And then see here, 26th November 1949, November, it was adopted on 26th January 1950. Ready by 26th November 1949. Then they waited for December, January. Actually 2 months they waited to adopt or enforce the constitution. So why it was so? Why did they choose this date? Why did they choose this date, 26 January 1950? So I'll explain you that right now. Now before that, let me tell you, how long did it take to complete our constitution? How long did it take to complete our constitution? So let me tell you, constitution, that means it took 11 months. 11 months. Sorry. My mistake. Sorry. It took 2 years, 11 months and 17 days. How many days? 17 days. Or somewhere it is at 18 days. So approximately it took 3 years. Approximately it took how many years? 3 years to complete our constitution. 2 years, 11 months and 17 days. Such a huge, or we can say that it took a long time to complete our constitution. So drafting committee finally completed the constitution, handed over to the Constituent Assembly, and then 26 November 1949 it was ready, and it was adopted on 26 January 1950. So this is how our constitution was enforced. Now let me tell you what is the importance. Of 26 January. What is the importance? Why this date was chosen? Now let me tell you, my dear, 26 January. I am taking you back to 1929, when the country was still under British rule. During that time, the Congress Working Committee held a session at Lahore, and in the Lahore session, they decided to celebrate Independence Day, and a date was chosen, that was 26th of January. So in that session, in the Lahore session, they took 3 resolutions. Number 1, they decided to boycott the first round table conference. Number 2, they decided to go for Purna Swaraj, complete independence. And the third one, decided to celebrate 26 January as an Independence Day. That is why when 31st December 1929, Purna Swaraj Day was known as. Lahore session was held. In that session, they decided to go for Purna Swaraj. Purna means complete independence, because that time India was still under British rule. 31st December. So when did they first celebrate the first Independence Day? That is 26th January 1929. So 26th January 1930. The first Independence Day was observed on 1930. So that is why this date has been chosen. This date has been chosen by our framers of our constitution to adopt the constitution of our country. So how many articles it has? I told you 395 articles initially. Now at present 448 articles are there. So now let me tell you about what actually is. We cannot go through the constitution all at once, but at least if you turn the first page of our constitution, the first page of our constitution, it is the preamble. It is the preamble. So what is mean by preamble? What is mean by preamble? Just like when you open a book. Let me tell you, I'll show you one book. This is the book. The first page of the book, it is called preface. It will be zooming. Preface. Preface. This is the introduction to this book. This is the introduction to this book. So what are the important features of this book is mentioned over here. In the same way, In the same way, when you go through the constitution, when you get a book, the first page when you turn it, there you will get it preamble. There you will get it preamble. And the preamble is the introductory part of our constitution. Preamble is the introduction. Introduction to our constitution. Preamble is the introduction to our. That means preamble introduces our constitution, and all the important features of our constitutions are maintained, are written down there in our preamble. So the constitution, the preamble reads like this: We the people of India, solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, secular, socialist, democratic republic. But let me tell you, when the constitution was adopted on 1950, it adopted in the year 1950, our preamble read like that: We the people of India solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, democratic republic. This socialist and secular word was not there. But as the days passed, the time passed, the framers of our constitution thought the necessity to introduce or include these two words in our constitution. So, socialist and secular word was that means included in our constitution in the year 1976 through a 42nd Amendment Act. 42nd Amendment Act. 42nd Amendment Act. The word socialist, secular. These two words were included in the preamble in the year 1976. Socialist and the secular. So now it reads like this: We the people of India. That means we are the source of our country. That means what is the source of our constitution? Who made the constitution? We the people of our country. So we the people of our country solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So how many? 5. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political. So I have given over here the preamble. You can go through it. And the last part, this 26th day of November, at last you can see, this 26th day of November, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution. So, on 26th of November 1949, our constitution was ready and adopted in the year 1950. And in 1950, India became republic. Now let me explain you the 5 important features of the constitution. Number 1 is sovereign. India is a sovereign country. India has a supreme power. That means India is a sovereign country beyond and above. Let me tell you once again clearly. What is the meaning of sovereign? Sovereignty means supreme power. Literary meaning of sovereignty is supreme power. Beyond and above, no power exists. If I tell you God is supreme, that means above and beyond there is no other power. So God is overall powerful. So sovereign. India, had been under foreign rule for more than 200 years. Now finally in 1947 India was freed, and in 1950 India legally became sovereign. So India became sovereign. India now can solve the internal and external problems without the involvement of foreign power. So India is internally and externally free from foreign power. Internally and externally free from foreign power. Now the second one is socialist. India became a socialist country in 1976. Why is it so? Because if it was not included, then the capitalists could have become richer and richer, and poor people could have become poorer and poorer. So in order to avoid this, socialist word was included. Accordingly, the wealth of the country will be equally distributed among the people of the country. And the third one is secular. The third one is secular. Secular means there is no state religion in our country. There is no state religion in our country. So India has no state religion. Like foreign nations, they have Christianity as their state religion. Many of the Muslim countries, Islam is their state religion. But in our country, there is no state religion. Each and every religion can exist side by side peacefully. Each and every people have the right to profess, practice and propagate the religion of their choice. So there cannot be any obstacle in the path of their belief, and that means propagating the religion of their choice. So that is secular. This is the beauty of our nation, that our nation is a secular country. Now the fourth one is democratic. The fourth one is democratic. So India is a democratic country. India is a democratic country. Here we have a representative form of government. Here we are the one to form the government. Here we are the one to throw out the government. If the government does not work properly, we will remove them. Another government will be given the chance. So we have been given the right to vote, and through that vote which we get it, through that right to vote which we have been given through the fundamental right, we apply it and then we form the government. So we have a representative form of government. So in a democratic government, we have been given a lot of freedoms, lot of civil liberties are given to us. We use it in our daily life to make ourselves more and more confident to run our nation. And the last one is republic. Let me tell you, 1950 our constitution was adopted. That means our constitution was enforced in the year 1950, 26 January 1950. And from that day onward, India became a republican country. India became a republican country. Now what is that? I'll explain you. What is that? I'll explain you. Republic means the head of the country will be the elected one. The head of the country will be elected by the people. Okay? And the head of the country won't be possessing any hereditary right. Suppose, for example, I am the president of the country. After me, my son cannot become the president. If my son wants to become the president, then he has to go through the parliamentary procedure. But this hereditary system is still there in England. Since there in the royal family is there, they are the one who is the king, the monarch. They are the monarchical system still exists in England. But in our country, the president is the executive or the nominal head of our country. So if he dies, if he resigns, then if he leaves the office, then his son cannot become the president. There is no hereditary system. Every process has to go through a parliamentary procedure. Constitutional process has to be followed. So this is all about the important features of our preamble. Preamble is the introduction to our constitution, and it highlights the important features of our constitution, like the sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. Hope you all have understood it. So my first class with you, in class till up to class 8, teaching was different. From class 9 onward, teaching would be different. Each and every teachers will teach in a different way, because you are now the board students. Because the question papers of your final exams will be second paper of your final exam. There is a third term will be sent from the council. So you cannot take it easily. You have to study from the very beginning. So before I end this chapter, I would like to show you some pictures. So here the pictures are there. The first picture is about the member of the Constituent Assembly taking their oath. Then the second one, the Constituent Assembly of India in session. A view of the Constituent Assembly at work. So you can see this one by one. Then Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the President of the Constituent Assembly, signing the Constitution of India. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru signing the Constitution of India. So I think you are going to, it's a black and white picture, let it be. Next one, Next picture is Sri Jawaharlal Nehru taking oath as the Prime Minister of independent India on 15 August 1947. And the most happiest moment, the picture that is captured in the picture, Indian tricolor flag at the Red Fort, Day of Independence, 15 August 1947. So, my dear children, this is how we have come to the end of our first class. I hope you all have enjoyed my class. I hope you all have understood it. If you have not understood, then you can go to the comment section. There you can ask the queries. I assure you, I'll reply to all your questions. So please, the friends, those who are still not connected in this online classes, please inform them to get connected. So, this is the end of our class. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care. We'll meet again in the next class. Till that time, bye-bye.